Hello everyone, this is Lying Figure, and I'm back here today playing Silent Hill 4. So I'm not going to give a long essay before I start playing again, like I usually do in the first part of my videos, but I just want to say that I had to play up to this point because I lost my save as I upgraded my computer. It took me a little longer, which is why this is a few days later than I wanted it to, because a certain part wouldn't come, but I got it, I built it. Took me forever to set up this game as it's really not compatible with newer computers, but I finally got it. Now in a very high resolution. I'm recording at a slightly higher resolution than I was before, but recording at the full resolution I'm playing at is really taxing on my computer, even though it's a brand new, great computer. It's just really tough on it, so I'm not going to take any risks with frame rate drops, so I decided to record just a few hundred higher than what I was doing before, which is pretty good. It was fine before. Anyways, without further delay, we went into a room where there was a hole with Cynthia, and she didn't seem to follow us into that room. We crawled back to our room, and I just saved my game, and now we're going to head back out. So we're going to walk back to my bathroom, and I was told that the sound was a little bit quiet for the game, so I've turned it up a bit. I have it turned down on my headset, but it records directly from the game. Huh. That's a weird glitch in the top left. I've been playing for a little bit now, and I haven't seen that. Probably won't happen again. Oh, it's happening right up there. Oh, I think it went away. That was very strange. I don't know what that was. Anyways, before I go anywhere, I want to talk about... This was something I think I might have mentioned or hinted at, but since I talked about in the last episode how most of the enemies are based on Walter Sullivan's mindset, again, his psyche, not the guy we're playing as. Henry Townshend is who we're playing as, but there's a guy named Walter Sullivan, and these worlds are based on all the places we're visiting, except for room 302, are based on Walter's psyche, and most of that has a theme of wanting a mother, needing a mother because he never really had one, and looking for one in any way he can. And in many ways, the room 302 is connected to Walter's mother. I won't spoil how, but it's connected to her, which is why it's no coincidence that, as an astute commenter pointed out, I wasn't going to reveal it until later, but I might as well say it since he said it. Since the room is connected to Walter's mother, there's no coincidence that you were crawling through a long passage or canal to get into a new world with a light at the end of it. Much like for those who are too young to be watching this, childbirth is how that's performed, at least from what I remember of my own birth. Anyways, so we ended up in this red glowing room. Again, same red glow effect as is used on Pyramid Head and numerous times in Silent Hill 3. Because that's the theme of this Silent Hill Otherworld. Now, I just want to do for full disclosure, I am playing on easy now. I started on normal, but I decided since I'm starting again, it'll go faster to get back to this point if I'm playing on easy. And also, it's just, you know what, I don't think I want to go in here yet. The game, especially in the latter half, is very challenging, because again, the combat Silent Hill game, combat is not great by any means. Let's crawl up this ladder. It's not great. Let's grab these pistol bullets. Combat's not great, and it's pretty difficult to unlock the door. Pretty difficult in the latter half because you go to your room and it stops healing you, but because it was built and designed for the room to heal you in the first half, you are meant to save every health drink and every item you get until the latter half. And if you don't do that just right, it actually can basically ruin a playthrough. I know, because I got up to that point in my very first playthrough. Not what I expected at all. Which is a problem we'll talk about more as to why I didn't expect it, but it'll get into spoiler territory. Anyways, certain areas like this might have frame rate drops, and that's not just a recording thing, it's when I played it normally. Without recording, it does that too. Just some areas like this, it's very rare do that, even on consoles. Let's avoid this dog. So if you remember, uh-oh. I will, Cynthia. So there's some pale dead bodies in here. He's coming. Uh-oh. Let's check this train. I think there's... Whoa. You see that dog? Oh, that's great. Okay. I know there are supplies at the end of here. I guess not really supplies, but 9 iron. Which is a really powerful weapon, but it breaks easily. Which is another problem a lot of people have with this game, is that weapons will break. Which is fine, because you find a lot of different weapons throughout the game. I don't think I can go through here, so... Wow. Again, combat is not stellar. Driver's seat window, I can see light coming in from the side of the tunnel. I'm just trying to see if there's a door here. This is hilarious. I guess I'm gonna have to fight these. Because they are blocking my path. And this is something I've been meaning to touch on since the very beginning of my Silent Hill 2 lore play. Which is that it's most evident here, but it's not just a Silent Hill thing. You know what, let me turn down the volume really quickly. Don't pay attention to that resolution. It's you set it at that one, and then use a fix in the game's directory to get full resolution. It's a sort of a survival horror tradition, even for zombies and in like Resident Evil games. They just use modulated and added together animal noises, which is why I think it's most egregious in Resident Evil 4. I adore the game, but if you remember, it's I'm actually going to go back to my room and heal really quickly because of that horrible excursion, but that's okay because I have plenty to talk about. And I will skip these going back cutscenes because it's the same one every time. In Silent Hill 4, Resident Evil 4, I find it most egregious because it's literally when you hit a villager, they'll go like "row," you know. It's literally a panther noise that's not even modulated whatsoever. In this game, the sniffer dogs, for some reason, have a tendency... Oops, wrong slot, but that's fine. Have a tendency to make monkey noises, which is pretty funny. But I like it. I wish it was a little less evident. This is the only Silent Hill game where it's very clear. Usually they mix together numerous noises. Like the closer in Silent Hill 3, I believe makes a rhinoceros noise mixed with a few other animal noises like dogs and panthers, and then they're all modulated and kind of intertwined, which is really interesting. I really like how they do that. And when you go into a new level, you have to manually crawl through these holes, but you can just skip the cutscene here whenever it's a level you've already been in. And it seems that top left square is going to go away pretty quick. Yeah, there it goes. I don't know why that is, I've never had that before. Now this is to me the hardest section of the game. I went up the wrong side. This is by far the section that gave me the most trouble in the game. Which is the escalator section. Now these things are called wallmen. And yeah, these things are real bitches. Wallmen are little creatures that crawl out of this wall here. And while not unavoidable, they are extremely difficult to avoid. Because as you can see, I time it so that, let's say he hits right there. Yep. So, let's see, let's have him hit when I'm really close. Okay, now. Oh, that was bad timing. It's... Okay, now. So you kind of have... That was strange. You have to get just the right time, and it's very difficult to get by. And it takes like 2 or 3 hits to get them into submission, and they will always hit you because you can't stand still on the escalator and beat on them. Because your default walking speed is almost too slow to carry you down the stairs while they're moving up. Very difficult section. I actually died here the first time I played. Okay, I don't see that how that hit me. I'm pressing buttons. I'm pressing buttons. I should have just bolted. And that's my other gripe, is that they will actually knock you all the way down into other wall men. I'm just gonna try and bolt through here. Okay. I wouldn't be surprised if I die. If I die, I'll cut it. Again, I think of myself as pretty good at video games, but I'm terrible at this part. I don't know, like, look at this non-stop barrage. The only thing I can think of doing is using the gun, but again, it's another one of those, like with the health drinks, to actually get the... my goodness. To get the supplies, they're very limited, and especially the handgun bullets. So to waste them is not a good thing whatsoever. But again, that section really gets my goat. We're gonna die because if any ghost gets close to us, it'll do damage. That's alright. We can get up here and go in here, and we might get healed. Women's makeup items are scattered on the ground. These must be Cynthia's. Huh. Why is that there? There's a plate on the door. Remove the plate? You got the temptation placard. So this is interesting because... well, I'll explain after the cutscene, actually.
Are you okay?
It's just a dream, right? I think I drank too much last night. I never got to do that special favor for you. I feel like I'm dying.
Okay. It's just a dream.
Okay, so that's a long cutscene. Cynthia obviously murdered by someone, and her chest says 16121. What could it mean? Let's look out the window here. There's an ambulance and a police car near the subway entrance. Is it Cynthia? Pretty interesting. Let's look around our apartment building a little bit, see if there's anything to see here. Again, it really looks like that guy wants to jump out. Oh, wait. Hey, I recognize him. We are going to meet that man on the top there. We're going to meet him later, don't worry. He's just a delight. Okay, so let's head back out here.
Hurry up and get that ambulance. Quit yapping and move her already.
Damn, she's got Are you yearning for that special place to spend quality time with your loved one? Do you need to relax and get away from it all? Come to Silent Hill for the ultimate peaceful getaway.
That's really funny. I don't think I ever picked that up in my last 2 playthroughs. Like, I didn't actually play the radio, I guess. So, for those of you who don't know, that is, of course, a reference to Silent Hill 2, in which Silent Hill. Well, I'll explain the premise of the game. There's a man named James Sunderland. His wife has died 3 years earlier from a terminal disease. And before she was even diagnosed with her sickness, they spent time in Silent Hill together, which is sort of a. Of course, as we know it, it's a terrible, terrible haunted place, but as they knew it, it was a special place to get away and have a special romantic time. And so that's, of course, a reference to the special place to get away. Again, there's this weird connection between Silent Hill 2 and Silent Hill 4. It's very loose, but it exists, and I'm, when I think about it, I think the reason might be is because Silent Hill 1 and 3 are so directly connected, and 2 was sort of an out there, unrelated game, at least story-wise, that I think they wanted to connect these two, sort of an alternating connection of games. Let's see if we can get any other transmissions. Nope. So of course we picked up on the radio numbers on the chest and the guy saying, "Could this be?" And what exactly that means, well, we'll find out. Anyways, let's look down. Oh, if you see in that bottom left window, directly to the left of this tree, you can see there's a woman down there in a black and white sort of dotted sweater. Just trying to remember her. She's not particularly important, but it's interesting to note that her name, well, she may or may not be a character from Silent Hill 2. Not the one that we ever met directly, but that we heard about. And we'll see a picture of this woman later in the game. We'll see a few possible pictures of her. So just wanted to take note of that. And let's save right here. Return from Subway World. The Jared Fogle story. Alright. So if you examine different pictures throughout the game, you'll get different, or like the same pictures you saw earlier, you'll get more expanded information on them. So I heard that Sunderland, the superintendent who gave me this photo, has been the super here since the building was built. So this is your first actual hint towards the name Sunderland. Or no, it isn't. I believe it's when you first pick it up. But the more we examine this picture, the more connections we'll pick up to Silent Hill 2. Again, Frank Sunderland, the super of this apartment, is James Sunderland's father. Let's see if we can look at this picture. And we already saw this. If there's no new information, I'll make sure to, pay attention to that. Anyways, let's check under the door, because there is a new note here. A scrap of red paper, as we found here before. Although the cult itself is gone, I'm sure the spirit of it is still alive. There are too many strange things happening in that town. I'm investigating 2 people, or maybe I should say just one. I've just about discovered what's going on. April 8th. Something's going on with this red diary. So, just worth noting, I've mentioned random scraps of this throughout my playthroughs, but the reason one of the reasons I have a huge list, and I'll get to it when I play it, but Silent Hill Homecoming, I find it so egregious and offensive to any person who likes Silent Hill, is because this note even confirms it before any of the nonsense of the game occurred. The cult is gone, but the cult is the focal point of Silent Hill Homecoming. And Silent Hill Homecoming makes a mistake in one of its notes to acknowledge that Douglas Cartland from the 3rd game went public and exposed the cult and got it disbanded completely. So, literally the notes that game has contradicts its entire story. And I just want to say, when we began the game, I believe one of these locks was missing, one of these little chains, and now there are 2, I believe. Unless I'm mistaken. I might be wrong. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's... Now there are 16 red handprints. And there's our buddy Frank Sunderland. So if you remember earlier, I looked out here and checked and counted. Sorry about that. And there were 15 red handprints. Now there are 16. Now where can we pick up the number 16? Well, what has changed? There was Cynthia, and she died, and her chest said 16121. So obviously these handprints correlate to the numbers on the chest of Cynthia in some way, but anyways, I don't think there's much else to do in here. We can look around and check everything, but it's just a laundry room here. Sorry about that. And not much we can do except check out the hole. And we'll notice the hole's getting bigger. Enter the hole? Sure. So, oh, never mind. I guess when you enter a new world, you don't have to manually crawl through. And again, some of these cutscenes will be a bit blurry or a bit stretched, possibly, because not this one, but some of the FMVs. I believe there's only 2 or 3 throughout the entire game. If you've already seen 1 or 2, they'll be stretched because of how the game is made. Nothing that any mod can do. It's just how the FMVs were created. So this time we appear to be in the woods. And I actually really like this area. I find it interesting. The subway is probably my least favorite area in the game. It's too dark to see. And I think the game actually gets better as you go, for the most part. So we're in the woods here. Can we look at this? This writing, what does it mean? Weird writing here too. So before I look at this and read it, or not read it, but I just wanted to say I didn't actually talk about what the wall men might symbolize, because I was so frustrated with them, and because then we had a long cutscene with Cynthia, so sorry about that. The symbolism is very basic, much like the sniffer dog. Sniffer dog has the umbilical cord to, or the proboscis, which symbolizes an umbilical cord to connect it to. Some of the idle animations in this game are really great. It kind of connects it to the theme of having a mother or motherhood, whereas the wall men are symbolic of Walter's inability to escape certain things and feeling of always being watched. And where exactly that feeling comes from is a bit of a spoiler, but we will find out within an hour or 2 of playing. So, anyways, this weird writing, we can't read it now. We will get an ability to read it later, and it will reveal quite a lot to us. Awoo. And there is a hole here, but we're just going to ignore it. There's no point. Do not enter. But we will enter anyways. So there's some sort of industrial facility out here. And these things are very annoying. They're really easy to fight though, so I don't mind them that much. These are just called Hummers. And again, another pretty simple enemy, symbolism-wise. They represent Walter's intense dislike for all things insect. A lot of people say that this is the weakest Silent Hill game, and I'd have to, not weakest overall, but weakest of the first 4, and I have to agree. There are ups and downs, but generally, the enemy symbolism leaves a little bit to be desired. I mean, them having any symbolism at all, like the umbilical cord on the sniffer dog, is good, but, you know, it's not as rich and open for interpretation as other games are. And also, again, there's no book of lost memories for this, like there is for the 1 through 3 games. That book was released before this game came out. So, unfortunately, not much confirmation lore-wise except for the simpler explanations. It stopped with the brake pedal engaged. There are all sorts of things scattered on the seat. Among the trash is a scrap of paper with something written on it. It's been a while since I came here to Silent Hill. Maybe I'll meet the devil this time, but whenever I come to a cool place like Silent Hill, I always get real thirsty. Jasper Gine. Now, it could be Geen or Gine, depending on how you want to say it. And I want to point out that every time there's text... oh, there's a new note. I'm not sure what the nosy guy said when he said, "His home is the orphanage in the middle. The lake is northwest, so the opposite is southeast." The nosy guy said one other thing I don't understand. If you bring the dug up key, you can't go back. Put it away somewhere before you return there. So that's another Jasper memo. You notice that whenever text comes up on the screen, the background will blur a bit. It'll pixelate. And why that is, I'm not really sure. It's a no glitch with the game. I'd love to explain why it happens, but nobody really knows. And again, probably something having to do with the port, rather more than anything. So there's a man sitting here. Let's see what he has to say.
So you came to investigate this stone too. There was another guy here before, a real nosy guy. But I was the one who found the stone first. In the old days, natives called it Nakihona. They used it in a ceremony for talking with their dead ancestors. And now those guys are using it too. Call it the mother stone. They're just up ahead in that weird building, operating some kind of crazy religious cult. They used to collect orphans and did things to them. Kind of gives you the chills, huh? This stone.
So Jasper obviously has a severe stutter. And no matter how hard we try, we can't actually hit him with the golf club. You can't hit any NPC. But this is an interesting example of, well, there are times where you can walk around and listen to other dialogue from cutscenes in Silent Hill 2 and 3, and even 1, I believe. There's never a time where you can actually just stand in front of an NPC and let them talk to you. So that's a first here. Something I kind of like. But also, of course, you'll notice the Mother Stone, again relating to mothers, and that's obviously important in some way. Lets you talk to the dead and everything. So, Jasper has a bit to say. I think he kind of ran through all his dialogue here.
Ceremony for talking to the dead.
And I just want to say, he is quiet, for me too. He just tends to be quiet at this point in the game, at this particular instance of meeting him. This rock is creepy somehow. But yeah, it's just this section. Anyways, let's head up ahead to the orphanage. Actually, let's change our minds, because I don't want to stop there just yet. Anyways, I was just going to say, I think this is a good place to end this part. It's a little bit long. I think it's a good place to end it, though. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope you have a good day or night wherever you are. And take care, my friends.